Welcome once again. This is the Distraction Quiz. Hashtag Distraction Quiz. Thank you for tuning in. This is brought to you by the Distraction Pieces Network, all the podcasts on the network, which are all available on iTunes, Acast, Spotify, all your favourite podcast platforms. And we wanted to give you something to have a bit of fun and a bit of a break. I'm Scroobius Pip. I'm going to be your host for the evening. I am the host of the Distraction Pieces podcast. I am an actor. I am a former rapper. I am the current CEO of Speech Development Records and Emperor of the Distraction Pieces Network. So, let's jump into the quiz. We're going to jump in. We're going to have 8 rounds again, and we're going to kick things off this time with Christopher Glasson of the Hardcore Listing podcast with his general knowledge / guesswork round. Over to you, Chris.
Now then, tell me, what did Miggs say to you? Multiple Miggs in the next cell. He hissed at you. What did he say?
He said, Hardcore Listings on Monday.
Hello, it's Chris from Hardcore Listing here with 5 questions for the quiz. Again, hope you're having fun. My questions are all based around things you might need to use a little bit of guesswork for, but maybe you know them. And here we go. I'm going to rush straight into this now. Okay, so what is the name of the Mayor of London? What is the name of the Mayor of London? Question 1. What is the name of the Mayor of London? Question 2. To the closest billion, how many years has it been since the birth of our universe? He's like, what the fuck? Who would know that? I know that. To the closest billion, how many years it has been since the birth of the universe? Is it A, 7 billion years, B, 14 billion years, or C, 21 billion years to the closest billion? Question 3. What movie is this a quote from? He's not the Messiah, he's a very naughty boy. Okay, so what movie is that a quote from? Question 4. What year did Kurt Cobain take his dirt nap? What year did Kurt Cobain take his dirt nap? When did he die? When did he take his own life? That's question 4. And question 5. What is the biggest species of shark? I'm asking this because I had that as a tiebreaker in a quiz the other day. I somehow got it wrong, and I just hate myself forever for that, amongst all the other misdemeanors. So you might need to have watched Shark Week for this. Question 5. What's the biggest species of shark? Lovely.
Right. Let's get on with these answers. Number 1. This is a question that Chris got wrong on the podcast. He mixed up the answer to this. In fact, I'm going to give you a minus point if you put what Chris originally said the answer was. What is the name of the Mayor of London? If you put Amir Khan, you get minus 4 points. You're going to start off with minus 4 points. If, like Chris, you accidentally thought the Mayor of London was Amir Khan, because it is, of course, Sadiq Khan. Number 2, to the closest billion. How many years ago did our universe begin? Was it A, 7 billion, B, 14 billion, or C, 21 billion? The answer is B, it's 13.8 billion, so the nearest would be 14. Number 3, what movie is this quote from? He's not a Messiah. He's not the Messiah. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. It is, of course, from Monty Python, The Life of Brian, which they had a great Hardcore Listings episode with the lad from the Subways, I think it was, on talking about Life of Brian. His favourite quotes from Monty Python in general, I think. Or maybe it was his favourite, I don't know. It was a good episode. Number 4, what year did Kurt Cobain kill himself? It was 1994, which interestingly, as we saw in last week's podcast, was the same year that Definitely Maybe by Oasis came out. No connection. Number 5, what's the biggest species of shark? It's the whale shark. Everyone likes a shark question early on. Everyone also likes a creaky chair from their host. Let's get on to round 2. We have Jason Reed of the Stop and Search and the Starter Revolution podcast with his raw retro law enforcement round, which was a big hit last week in last week's quiz, because you hear retro law enforcement and you get a little bit nervous that it's going to be pretty tough, but it's a lot of fun. So over to you, Jason.
Now, stop! Heads up! Bad boys, what you gonna do? Smell some marijuana, I'm a marijuana smoker! Crawl up! What you gonna do? Hit up! Hold it!
Hi, this is Jason again with the retro law enforcement druggy things questions. So the reason we're doing this is because Pip suggested I do a retro round, because I do the Stop and Search podcast, which is about drugs, law enforcement, heists, all that kind of thing. We're going to combine the two, along with the new one I do, which is So I Start a Revolution from My Bed, which is nostalgia. So we're going to go 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, noughties on law enforcement and retro. And this first question is 1960s. So Buster Edwards and Ronnie Biggs, they were two big crime figures. They are synonymous with a certain raid. In 1963, they took 2.6 million, which is at times huge amounts. This raid has gone down in history. So what's the name of this robbery, this heist, this raid? What's it actually called? So we're going to go to the 70s, but we're going to go via the 1920s, if this makes sense. So in the 70s, there was a film called Bugsy Malone, which was just brilliant. And as a kid in the 80s, I so wanted to be in Bugsy Malone because they had cool, colourful drinks, they had splat guns, they had pedal cars, which was awesome. But the point of Bugsy Malone, it was about the 1920s Prohibition era. So America outlawed alcohol, and from that sprung speakeasies and clubs that were outlawed but became so huge, and hence we got Al Capone. But in the film Bugsy Malone, what was the name of the club? What was the name of the speakeasy? Now we're going to go to the 80s, and the 80s was just the brilliant, tawdry crime fighting era that it was. There were so many different shows, but I'm going to go to one of my favourites, which is the A-Team. Now, they went to military prison, but according to the voiceover, what was the thing that they went to military prison for? Alright, we're going to the 90s, and there was a massive iconic film in the 90s. It was generational. It was Trainspotting. And who wrote the book? Now we're going to the noughties, and in 2000 itself, Because I Got High was a song and an excuse to not do anything. But who released that song?
Thank you, Jason. On to the questions. Number one was the 60s question. What was the name given to the heist carried out by Buster Edward and Ronnie Biggs? It was the Great Train Robbery. Not just the train robbery, the Great Train Robbery. Number two is the 70s questions. What was the name of the speakeasy club in Bugsy Malone? Fat Sam's. It was Fat Sam's, of course it was. What an amazing film. Anytime I've seen a fight going on, it's kicked off in a pub or anything like that, I've always wished there was a piano so I could just walk over and go. Ding, ding, ding. Wait, and so on. Number three, 80s. What were the A-Team sent to military prison for? According to the intro title music speech, they were sent to prison for a crime they didn't commit. Number four, 90s. Who wrote the book Trainspotting? It was the legend Irving Welsh. Number five, noughties. Who released the stoner classic 'Cause I Got High, which incidentally became the theme tune that we would play regularly to our tour manager, Ollie, Oliver Long. I shouldn't full name him, but there you go. On our tours. It was Afro Man. Na 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 na. Next round. Next up, we've got Dr. Suzi Gage back again with a science round. The host of the amazingly popular, the author of the Say Why to Drugs book, available now in all good bookstores. It's Dr. Suzi Gage with her science round. Over to you, Suzi.
Hello, it's Suzi Gage here from the Say Why to Drugs podcast, and I've got 5 science questions for you. So the first question is, what does a Geiger counter measure? The second question is, what is the name of the maths wizard who was also the daughter of Lord Byron, who's renowned as an early pioneer of computer programming, which she was doing in the early 1800s? Next question. The Large Hadron Collider at CERN is 17 miles of tunnelling that crosses the border between 2 European countries. Which 2 countries? Okay, penultimate question. What percentage of the body's resting energy is used by the brain? Is it 5%, 20%, or 50%? And the last question, because there's got to be a drugs question in here somewhere. Albert Hofmann, the scientist, was investigating the properties of which substance when he accidentally discovered LSD? Was it A, a fungus, B, a vine, or C, a a cactus? Good luck. I hope you get them all right.
Thank you, Suzi. Right, let's get the answers in. What does a Geiger counter measure? It's gamma radiation. We will accept radiation or radioactivity. But there we go. Next question. Which maths wizard and daughter of Lord Byron was a computer programming pioneer back in the early 1800s? It was Ada Lovelace. Ada Lovelace. Ada Lovelace. Ada. Was Ada? Lovely Lovelace. Next question. The Large Hadron Collider at CERN is 17 miles of tunnelling and crosses the border between two countries. But which two? The answer is France and Switzerland. CERN is based just outside Geneva. What percentage of the body's resting energy does the brain use? Is it 5%, 20% or 50%? It's 20% for all you people. It's 50% for me. 5% for Chris Glasson. But it's 20% is the answer. Last question in the science round has to be a drug one, of course. Albert Hofmann was investigating the properties of what substance when he accidentally synthesized LSD? A fungus, a cactus, or a vine? Now, you might have heard of people hallucinating on cactuses in the desert, mushrooms, funguses, vines obviously produce alcohol and that can have some kind of trippiness, so which one could it be? I mean, vines produce grapes that produce alcohol. I'm not thinking. All right, the answer's a fungus, specifically the ergo fungus. Ergo. Depends on your pronunciation. It was a fungus. Good work. Now, back over to Jim Smallman, host of Tuesday Night Jaw, former host of Tuesday Night Jaw, but current host of Football Futures and our sports correspondent, helping him out to turn this from a football round into a sports round. Over to you guys. Hey guys, Scroobius Pip here again, in my gym, but I'm certainly not a small man. Jim Smallman? Nothing? Okay, well, once again, in this round, Jim is going to give you some wonderful questions on football, and I'm going to throw things in with some combat sports.
So, question one from my football round. In 2017, who was crowned Welsh Footballer of the Year? Now, I know you're going to go for the obvious answer, Gareth Bale, but no, this person stopped Gareth Bale from being crowned Welsh Footballer of the Year 5 years in a row. In 2017, who was crowned Welsh Footballer of the Year?
Hi guys, this is a Bulgarian bag. You know how we do. In the WWE, Shawn Michaels brought the super kick to the world stage. And in AEW and New Japan, the Young Bucks have been throwing a super kick party all over the world. But which British wrestler is credited as the innovator of the super kick? Just going to stay here, I think. Yeah, just stay here.
Football question 3. I love this one. In the 1993-1994 Premier League season, what did Chelsea goalkeeper Dave Besant do to injure his foot, putting him out of action for 8 weeks of the season? What did Dave Besant do to his foot in 1993-1994?
It's steel mace time. The steel mace was popularised in workouts for mixed martial arts a few years back. But who was the first Olympian to compete in mixed martial arts? $3,000. Skipping is popular for cardio in boxing, but which boxer played Pretty Ricky Conlon in the Rocky spin-off Creed? 3001. That was a sight to behold, wasn't it? I tell you, I'm glad this table is covering up. Question number 1. In 2017, who was crowned Welsh Footballer of the Year? Again, you'd think for years it was Mark Hughes, Giggs, then passed on to Gareth Bale to permanently hold it. But the answer was Chris Gunter. Held off Gareth Bale. Good lad. Good lad. In the WWE, Shawn Michaels took the super kick right to the grandest stage of them all, and the Young Bucks are taking super kick parties all over the world. But which British wrestler is credited for its initial innovation? The answer is the gentleman Chris Adams, who was also the trainer of the likes of Scott Hall, aka Razor Ramon, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. He gets mentioned a lot on Stone Cold's amazing podcast. Next question. How did Dave Besant injure his foot in the... This is news to me and it's a wonderful one. In the 1993-94 Premier League season, putting him out for 8 weeks. He dropped a bottle of salad cream on it. I mean, just wow. Number 4. Who was the first Olympian to go on to compete in mixed martial arts? A lot of people might think Ronda Rousey or Daniel Cormier. You might think that Dan Henderson was on the Olympic team, but did he compete? No. The answer is Mark Schultz, played by Channing Tatum alongside Steve Carell and Mark Ruffalo in the film The Foxcatcher. And also part of their team was Kurt Angle, he didn't feature in the film, but weird. But yeah, there we go. Mark Schultz. Obviously some tragic stuff in that story. Number 5, speaking of films, which boxer starred as Pretty Ricky Conlon in the Rocky spin-off film Creed? It was Tony Bellew. I know that Stuart Mang and Stuart Whiffen will have got that one. Let's get on to the gaming round. The gaming round is brought to you by Dan Lassac, host of the Falling Forward podcast and also a Twitch streamer. So yeah, over to you, Dan.
Back once again, Renegade Masters. Dan Lassac here. We've got 5 more video game questions for you. Or video game questions would be the correct pronunciation. Question 1. In Brutal Legend, the seminal heavy metal adventure, who voiced Killmaster? Who voiced Killmaster? Question 2. In Tetris, what are the blocks called? Question 3. Who did Sony, yes, Sony Entertainment Network, originally team up with to make the PlayStation? Question 4. Which video game journalist ends all his videos by asking us to thank God for me? Well, him, but me. These are good questions. Come on, guys. You love it. Question 5. Which title featured David Bowie's only video game acting role? I did faces. Yeah. I feel like I could have done better, but you know, I don't even know if this is in focus. I should have checked that.
Thank you, Dan Lassac. In Brutal Legend, the seminal heavy metal adventure, which British rock legend voices Killmaster? It's Lemmy from Motorhead, God rest his beautiful soul. Next up, what are the blocks called in Tetris? They're called tetraminos. Now, they've also got weird names individually, but we're not giving any bonus points for that, because I heard it on 2 different podcasts recently. So it's just going to be too fresh in your mind. Like, they're called like Big Blue and Long Barry and stuff like that. Next question. Who did Sony originally team up with to make the PlayStation? Good and important little bit of history here. It was with Nintendo. Now big rivals. Which video game journalist ends each video by asking us to thank God for me? It is Jim Sterling. And the last question in the gaming round. Which title featured David Bowie's only video game acting role? It was Omicron, the Nomad Soul. How you doing? How you doing, guys? I hope you're doing good. We've got a fun round up next. I'm going to hand back over to Brett Goldstein, comedian, actor, writer, director, all things wonderful, for the film and host of the Films to Be Buried With podcast for a movie poster round. Over to you, Brett Goldstein.
Look out, there's only films to be buried with. I'm going to show you 5 film posters with the title removed. After you see each poster, you need to write the full name of the film that the title is missing from. Here is the first one. Interesting, isn't it? Here it is again. Old MacDonald had a farm. Here is the second one. E-I-E-I-O, and on his farm. Ooh, what is it? He had a cow. Here is the third one. E-I-E-I-O, with a here and a. Makes you think, doesn't it? There, here, there. Here is the fourth one. Everywhere, old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. And here is the fifth one. Kablooey. Here they are again. And that is the end of the Films to Be Buried With quiz. I will now hand you over to Scroobius Pip for the answers. Scroobius Pip.
There we go. Let's get the answers. They were a lot of fun. The first one, I reckon a lot of you will have got this. It was Inception. Number 2 was Speed. 2, Cruise Control. No points for Speed. Speed 2, Cruise Control. Number 3, it wasn't just a photo of me on holiday. It was The Passion of Christ. Number 4, I'm going to deduct a point if you wrote Pretty Woman. Yeah, you didn't know you were getting minus points. Because the answer is Runaway Bride. And number 5, one of Brett's favourite films. He talks about it a lot. He feels it's hugely underrated. It is Grease 2. Right, onwards, onto another round from the Mum and Mama podcast, the newest team. But we've got Harry, the other host. There's Amy and Harry are the hosts. We've had Amy on last week. So now Harry's on for a round about law. Over to you, Harry.
Inhabitants of Peach Trees. This is Judge Dredd.
Let him talk.
In case you people have forgotten, this block operates under the same rules as the rest of the city. Mama is not the law. I am the law.
Hello and good evening. So, my name is Anne Harrod. I am, they call me Harry for short. I am part of the Mum and Mama podcast. So, my partner in crime is Amy Borman, and I'm usually the cheeky one that likes to take the mick out of her, and she's usually the one to let me do it. So, I'm going to give you the next 5. And mine are all around rights around the world, you know, sort of children's rights or adult rights. And some of them are very bizarre, but they're all either true or false, or I want the date that they came into force. So, we shall start. The first one being, in what year did children legally have rights? Now, I know you're all going to think, what, children have rights? But believe you me, they bloody well do. So, could you tell me exactly what year that was? And then that's question number 1 done. Question number 2. Now, UNICEF have got rights respecting ambassadors all around the world, and each of the children learn a number of rights. Can you tell me 2 rights that the children might learn? And these are absolutely true, because my son has come home and told me about those rights that he has. So, could you tell me 2 of those rights that a rights respecting ambassador might learn? Question number 3. So, this isn't a children's right or a right for a child. This is a right for an adult, and a right for an adult's fun time. So, question number 3 is, which state in America are you legally not allowed to have more than 2 sex toys in a home? So that's basically no more than 2 dildos in a house. Sorry mums, but it's a maximum of 2. Which state in America might that one be? And you could tell me if it's true or false as well, because there's lots of speculation about this one. So can you tell me which state in America where you're only allowed to have 2 sex toys per household? I definitely won't be visiting that state. And number 4. So think back to when you were a child or a teenager. One of the greatest moments was being able to chew some gum and to blow a big bubble. Well, in Singapore, that's been banned. Can you tell me in which year Singapore banned chewing gum, buying chewing gum, blowing any kind of bubbles, or anything to do with gum? And my final question. Now, this is a bit of a sad one, I think, but in Poland, they have banned a well-known and well-loved character from, sort of generations. And the reason why they've banned him, it, she, whoever, the reason why they've banned this character is because it's deemed an inappropriate hermaphrodite. Because the character wears no pants and it's got non-specific genitalia. So basically, It's not going to be on any pyjamas, it's not going to be on your favourite lunchbox, and you definitely won't be watching this character on the TV. So can you tell me which popular character this might be and why? And well, obviously I've told you the reasons why it's banned in Poland, but could you tell me which character it is? Thank you for listening, and I hope you get them all right. Bye!
And as for you, Mama, judgment time.
Thank you, Harry. Let's get on with these answers, shall we? I was just having a look at the time on the recording. You needed to know that. Just checking if I had time to stroke that skull. In what year did children gain rights? So in what year basically did child rights come in? It was 1924. As a right respecting this is the next question. As a right respecting ambassador, can you name 2 rights children have today that you might learn? What? No. As a right respecting ambassador, can you name 2 rights children today might learn? Right, first up, we've got a few here. All you need is 2. You can't get. We'll give you a point for each. It won't be half a point each. We'll give you a point for each. You could have had Article 19. We have the right to be safe. Article 28. We have the right to quality education. Article 12. We have the right to give our opinion and listen to others. Article 15/31. We have the right to join in and be part of a team. Article 29. We have the right to develop our personalities, talents, and abilities. On to question number 3. In which state in America can you only have 1 sex toy? 1. Arizona is the answer. There's a bonus point. This is wonderful quizzing, but these are the answers sent over by Harry. There's a bonus point for if it's true or false, because she thinks it could be false. But there's lots of speculation. But it's Arizona, okay? That's the answer. Number 4, what was the year Singapore banned the use of chewing gum? Blowing it, chewing it, spitting it, putting it anywhere. It was 1992, and only in 2004 was it made legal to buy dental or nicotine gum from a registered doctor. Wonderful, no chewing gum all over the place. Number 5, can you tell me what character has been banned in Poland because of his low-cut top, really kind of revealing his lower half and therefore putting a question mark over his sexuality? It's Winnie the Pooh. It's lovely old Winnie the Pooh, and I think we all need to take a moment to feel grateful and lucky for our rights to walk around with a t-shirt and nothing on underneath. As a man or a woman. Your bum popping out, your bits popping out. That's your right as a human. And it should be Winnie the Pooh's right as a bear. On to the next round. It's all got a bit heavy, isn't it? On to the final round, in fact. The final round. It's from Stu Whiffen, the old boy, the old fella. He's on extra lockdown because of his age and his health. He presents the Hardcore Listening podcast and also Off the Beat and Track, the music podcast. So over to him for some music questions. Over to you, Stu.
It's Off the Beat and Track podcast on the Distraction Pieces Network with me, Stu Whiffen.
Hello and welcome to the Off the Beat and Track podcast round. I'll be giving you 5 music-based questions. I hope you're enjoying the quiz so far, and I'm going to get straight on with it. For question 1, Speak and Spell, Ultra, and Some Great Reward are all albums from which band? Speak and Spell, Ultra, and Some Great Reward. I want to know which band released those albums. Question 2. What year did Marvin Gaye release the incredible What's Going On album? I want to know what year Marvin Gaye released What's Going On. I want to know what year Marvin Gaye released What's Going On. The album, not the single. Okay. Question 3. I want to know the artist and the name of the song that these lyrics are from. I guess I should have known by the way you parked your car sideways that it wouldn't last. I want to know the artist and the name of the song. And the lyrics once again are, I guess I should have known by the way you parked your car sideways that it wouldn't last. Question 4. I want you to tell me the name of the band and the name of the album by looking at this cover work. Can you see that okay? So I want to know the name of the album and the name of the artist. Question 5. Whose debut album was called The Piper at the Gates of Dawn? I want to know which band had a debut album that was called The Piper at the Gates of Dawn. And that's your 5 questions. Enjoy the rest of the quiz.
I told you it was a cunt. Yes.
Thanks, Stu. Let's get to the answers. Number 1, Speak and Spell, Ultra, and Some Great Reward are all albums from which band? It's Depeche Mode. Legends. What year did Marvin Gaye release the album What's Going On? It was 1971. So Stu was just starting at his first proper job then. Number 3, tell me the artist and song that these lyrics are from. I guess I should have known by the way you parked your car sideways that it wouldn't last. It's of course Prince. Bonus. Oh no, it's artist and song, so half a point each. It's Prince with Little Red Corvette. Number 4, can you tell me the artist and album title that he held up? The record. Very distinctive looking young men from Southend. It's The Horrors, Strange House, half a point for each. The Horrors, Strange House. And number 5, whose debut album was called The Piper at the Gates of Dawn? It was, of course, Pink Floyd. What a classic. I've got a bike, you can ride it if you like. It's got a basket, a bell that rings and things to make it look good. I'd give it to you if I could, but I borrowed it. Not having a breakdown, that's one of the songs. I want to tell you a story about a little man, if I can. A gnome named Grimble Grumble, and little gnomes stay in their homes, eating, sleeping, drinking their wine. We can't end the quiz like that, can we? That was haunting and pathetic. We can't end the quiz like that, so let's have another bonus round. This one is worth... there's 10 points on the table. There's 10 points up for grabs here. I don't reckon you'll get all 10, but there are 10 points up for grabs. And this bonus question is brought to you by Buddy Peace, producer of the Distraction Pieces podcast, Films to be Buried With, Mum and Mama, and of his own podcast, Buddies Buddies. So over to you, Buddy Peace.
Thank you, Pip. I would like you to tell me how many of Notorious B.I.G.'s 10 crack commandments you can remember. I want you to write down as many as you can in, let's say, 30 seconds. And that starts now.
There we go. What a question from Buddy Peace. The time is ticking. You've got your 30 seconds. This is a Buddha. A biggie Buddha. So you've got to write down as many... Right, no, pens down. Pens down. The 30 seconds is up. Pens down. Stop writing. I'm going to give you the answers. You had to write down as many of Biggie's 10 crack commandments as you can in 30 seconds. The time is up. Quick warning, the following commandments do contain swears, but even more offensive to some, they contain a lot of double negatives. So, right, let's go through all 10 of Biggie's 10 crack commandments. Number 1, never let no one know how much dough you hold. Number 2, never let them know your next move. Number 3, never trust nobody. There's a lot of double negatives. Number 4, never get high on your own supply. For the love of God, never get high on your own supply. Number 5, never sell no crack where you rest at. Just don't. Not where you rest at, mate. Never sell no crack where you rest at. Come on! Never where you rest at. Number 6, that goddamn credit, forget it. You think a crackhead paying you back? Shit, forget that. Alright? Number 7, keep your family and business completely separated. Number 8, never keep no weight on you. Never. Number 9, if you ain't getting bagged, stay the fuck from police. Stay the fuck from them. If you ain't getting bagged, stay the fuck from police. Jesus. And number 10, consignment, strictly for live men. No freshmen. Consignment strictly for live men, not for freshmen. There we go. There was 10 points up for grabs there. How many did you get? If you've been tweeting along with us, if you've been doing this on a group Zoom, all sorts of things, I hope you've been using the hashtag distraction quiz. Not on a group Zoom. Don't keep just saying hashtag distraction quiz. Got 4 in that round. Hashtag distraction quiz. Don't say that. That'd be terribly troubling. But yeah. I'd like to see your scores. Tweet me at Scroobius Pip. Post us on Instagram, all over the place. Come and chat to us about your scores and how you did on the quiz. And spread the word. If you want others to do this, do it remotely. Stay home, stay safe. But most importantly, also listen to all of the podcasts on the Distraction Pieces Network. My podcast, the Distraction Pieces podcast, is out every Wednesday. Hardcore Listing is out every Monday. Jason Reed's Stop and Search is out. It changes. It's not out weekly, but it's often out on a Thursday or a Tuesday. The Dr. Suzi Gage Say Why to Drugs is on a hiatus, but there's a whole back catalogue of amazing episodes. Tuesday Night Jaw, now hosted by Matt Richards, is out every Tuesday night, but it varies as well a bit. Dan Lassack's Falling Forward is a Monday podcast. Is it Monday or Tuesday? It's Tuesdays. He's on Tuesdays. Brett Goldstein's Films to be Buried With is every Thursday. Mum and Mama is out on Sundays, and it's wonderful. You really need to check out the episode about online dating as a single parent. It's hilarious. And Off the Beaten Track is out every Friday. And as I said, Hardcore Listening on Mondays. Buddies is out there. There's loads of good stuff. Just listen to podcasts. In this period, don't skip the adverts. We're all suffering from lower listens. If you listen to the adverts, it doesn't cost you anything, but it gets people paid more. But this isn't really about any of that. This was to give you a little bit of entertainment in trying times. Stay safe, stay home, and stay sexy. We out.